has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
So let's hit these NBA games tonight on the board.
Yes, let's do that. The Bulls are in Milwaukee against the Bucks tonight. Bulls beat them a couple weeks ago in Milwaukee. They'll try to do the same thing tonight. Right now, minus 8.5 for the Bucks, 239.5. Healthy total. Jeez, almost in the 240s for this one.
You would think that it's too big of a number, like Gabe said, because the Bulls basically have played better than the Bucks. I think you grab the 8.5 and give it a whirl with the Bulls. They score a lot. They shoot a lot of threes. I think they say in the game, every game that Milwaukee plays is a struggle. Every single game they play comes down to the wire. They're not blowing anybody out. They've had a couple of games where they've gotten away from people, but they're not really, in my opinion, having success, rubbing anybody out of games. They're just constantly having to go down to the wire. You saw Dame hit a game winner the other night to win by 1. That was at the wire, too.
Yeah, Bucks got to show a little bit more before you can start laying 8.5 with them, really against anybody. They need to open it up some more. The Pacers are in Houston against the Rockets tonight. Rockets minus 6.5. Out to a nice 10-5 start, by the way, is Houston. 231.5 is the total.
They got guys that can absolutely ball out. I like the Rockets tonight at home. When they're at the Toyota Center in H-Town, only laying 6.5. The Pacers haven't been that good. Every game is a nightmare. They're 6-8. Meanwhile, the Rockets are winning. I like them tonight. I'll lay the 6.5.
We already kind of mentioned this one. The Sixers are in Memphis against the Grizzlies, where they are 3.5-point road favorites. They're 2-11 this year. 224.5 is the total tonight.
Yeah, I just can't bet on Philly, and I question the over as well because they stink. They're 2-11. And Memphis is flat out better. Now, I know there's guys that aren't playing and this and that, but I'll take the 4, and I'll try to keep it under the 224.
Yeah, rare night where the Sixers are going to have Embiid and Paul George out there. But still, I'll roll with you with the Grizz tonight at home. We just saw they're one of the better teams this year covering, so I'll take my shots with them. Portland into OKC tonight. So similar situation really as the Cavs, go out, lose a game on the road. Now they come home tonight, and you're a big favorite. 11.5 for the Thunder here. 224.5 the total.
I think they can actually win this game by a dozen or more and cover that number. I think Portland, wins games at the Moda. Basically, that's when they play well. And Oak City's not losing to them at home. So I think they pour it on Portland and cover the number.
Start of a long trip for the Knicks that will take them through Phoenix, Utah, Denver, Dallas, and Charlotte begins tonight in the desert. Suns still do not have, of course, Durant and Beal as they get ready to play this evening. Knicks 4.5-point favorites on the road in Phoenix with a 223.5 total.
Yeah, I think they'll screw it up. I think they'll actually lose this game in Phoenix. Suns will get it done. They played without Durant before. They already know, that he's missing months at a time every season. I think the Knicks on the road, they look good here and there, not every night. I think they'll struggle tonight with the Suns. I'll take the 5 and go with Phoenix.
Atlanta still out west as well. Remember, they won in Sacramento the other night. Tonight they're at Golden State at the Chase against the Warriors. Warriors minus 7.5. Another 239.5. Big total here tonight.
They don't lose at home. I think they're going to kill Atlanta. This is a tough game for the Hawks. You got Curry, everybody's scoring. They are invincible in that building. They win at the Chase, and they blow teams out. I'm going to go Golden State. I'm going to lay the 7.5.
Yeah, and you got the Warriors also, let's not forget, coming off losing to the Clippers the other night. So they're not going to be happy about that. I'll roll with you. Lay it with the Warriors. And finally, the Magic, who we were talking about before, they're road favorites at the Intuit Dome against the Clippers tonight. Minus 3.5, 204.5 the total. Low total.
Yeah, I want to know if they can actually win this game with Franz Wagner. I think Harden and the Clippers get it done. I'll take the 3.5 in their building at the Intuit, and that they cover at the very least against the Magic. If the Magic win, it's going to be by a bucket. I like the Clips to cover the number.
There you go. That is your night in the NBA. Good slate tonight, as we will try to go to the window and make a couple of bucks. All right, let's start the NFL, because honestly, I got so much NFL today. I was hoping this happened because I want to start it early. And the Steelers and the Browns are the ones who will begin Week 12 on Thursday night in Cleveland. I gave you all those tough numbers earlier. We'll get to them in a moment. Why don't we start, though, with Russell Wilson here, Scotty, because tomorrow we have our weekly words of wisdom from Mike Tomlin. Today it's our Russell Wilson, are the Steelers a Super Bowl contender conversation. Let's see what Russ thinks.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so that we have a chance. I think the biggest thing for us is continuing to just take each week as the most important week of it all. And I think that it's not really even just the week, it's just the day, it's just the moments in between. I think the greatest teams, the greatest players in any sport, especially the teams I've been on, is the moment is it's never too far away. It's right here, right now. And you're just locked into that, and you obsess over that, and you enjoy that part, and you embrace that part, and you love that part of it, because
like a nerd.
You never know what tomorrow holds. And I really believe that. You just have to stay focused on the moment. And I think when we get to do it as a collective team effort with these guys that we have, the fundamentals, the focus, the details of the guys we have, the passion, and then our fan base as well, it makes it that much more fun.
I think he's just like, it's boring listening to him. I just want to watch him play. I don't need to hear from him.
Well, I think that he wants everyone. There's a couple things with Russ, and this has always been a problem with him. I think he wants everyone to he wants everyone to like him. Like, he doesn't want anybody to not like him. He needs to be loved by everybody. He needs to be like, oh, you're the best, Russ. We love you, Russ. He loves that stuff. And number two, he wants everybody to think that he's this supreme leader. Like, he's the guy. I'm the leader of the team. But, like, that's how he talks. Like, he gets into, like, these, like, we just got to go out and do this. And we're together as a team. And it's all nonsense. And I think he felt like his rep took a hit in Denver over those couple of years. So now that he's playing well with the Steelers, it's like he's got to, like, try to restamp what he had in Seattle. Like, I'm this big leader, and I think that's what he likes to do. He wants to be loved by everybody and be a leader. That's kind of Russ's
trying
game.
to emulate Tomlin. He sounds like Mike. He's been around him now, and I think he tries to copy him, and it's not working.
I thought the clip we played of him last week before the Raven game, well, that was almost word for word like a Tomlin quote that he was giving out. So I think he's trying to regurgitate some of the Tomlin stuff and just kind of put it out there as his own, showing Mike that he's following his playbook and that he's listening to what he's saying. Like, I really feel like Russ does things like that. They have never won a road divisional Thursday night football game. They're 0-7 all time in the division, 0-5 since Tomlin's been there. Tomlin is 2-8 on the road on Thursday night football. We give a lot of good Steeler trends around here. We unfortunately had to give you a bad one on that. I have more on this game for you after I talk to the Prime Minister, including Kevin Stefanski, who, should maybe be feeling some heat. I don't think so, because I don't think it's his fault, but does he feel a little hot seat as he gets ready for the Steelers on Thursday?
I don't think he's the problem in Cleveland. And remember, Russ did beat Lamar on Sunday. He got it done.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Wednesday. And you know what that means? It's a Golf Wednesday on C2C. Really for the final time in 2024 on the PGA Tour. This is their last event, the RSM Classic down Sea Island, Georgia. And as always, the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, is with us to get ready for this week's event. Cam, it has been a long and winding road this year for us here on Golf Wednesdays, and we have finally made it to the end. You know how this goes for this event. We have got Sea Island, where you get actually a lot more, I guess you want to say, regulars in this, because all these guys live down there, and they end up playing this event. You also have Ludwig Aubert here because he won last year. First time that he's playing since getting that knee cleanup, little surgery that he had. But this is always a fun tournament to kind of end the year, Cam.
Oh, it's beautiful. And these courses are awesome, Carver. I wish we had one more week. Then I realized, hey, it's Thanksgiving. So the PGA Tour gets it right. Let's just end this thing, have Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in Hawaii after Christmas. Smart guys, rich guys. But this tournament is awesome. You need to strike the ball well, Carver, and it's beautiful for scenery as well. This is actually a very underrated tournament.
And remember, different format here because you have two courses. You have the Seaside, you have the Plantation. They'll play on both courses on Thursday and Friday. And then the Seaside will be where they play Saturday and Sunday for the winter. So almost something, Cam, we see a lot in January and February when they go out west and we get, the Amexes and things like that where we're playing a whole bunch of different courses. All right, we got, as far as the chalk goes, like I said, Aubert's here, and man, 9-1. For this guy, and he's just far and away from everybody else. Almost, how could you bet him when he hasn't played a competitive round since getting that surgery? Davis Thompson, Dangerous Denny McCarthy, Brian Harmon, of course, from down there. You have Siwoo Kim, Maverick McNeely, Matty Wallace, Harry English from down there. So as we mentioned, Cam, lots of guys from the area who will make their home down there that are going to play, and they know this course very, very well. So make sure that both courses, I know the whole joint very well. So make sure that you put that into your calculations. I will get us going as usual, Cam. Here's where I'm going this week. And we have, I can't quit this guy because I know if I don't play him this week, he'll win. So it's felt like he's been close the entire swing season. I'm going to take one more swing with Bermuda Ben Griffin at 35-1 this week. Eric Cole, I think I'm getting one of the better players in this field at 40-1. That seems pretty good to me. And I feel the same way about another Georgia Bulldog, Sepp Straka, at 50-1 this week, which I think is a good price for a multi-time winner on the PGA Tour against this field. Adam Hadwin at 75-1, and Burger Time at $100. Probably not the best of the field, but you know what? Burger Time is. I feel like he's starting to get it going, Cam. I just feel like we can get ourselves a little Burger Time.
That's a great price. And my bookie was like 80. So if you can find 100 on Burger, I think it's almost a must bet. We have the same guys, Carver. I'm starting off with Ben Griffin as well. I got 32. I didn't get that number. Know who loves this area? JT Poston. People forget about the postman. He knocks twice. Hopefully he can get it done for me. Dangerous Denny McCarthy. This is a perfect track for him. He putts well. If he could just finally get stiff it and go, because his putting is amazing. I love him this week. Cole, he's an addiction that I have to get off. And Chandler Phillips, Razor Products. What is it? Phillips Norelco there. I do need a shave. At 90-1, I'll take a shot with Phillips. Don't burn me with a razor. Don't cut me. Come on, buddy.
I'll probably end up joining you on McCarthy, Cam, just because he's another guy that I've bet him a billion times, and this, of course, will be the week that he wins if I don't bet him. So, especially in a field like this. So I'll probably get involved with McCarthy by the time I put the head on the pillow tonight. All right, the placements for me. I am going to mix in a couple Georgia guys down here, too. Harry English, T10 at plus 330 to play well this week. Nice. Mac Hughes, of course, Canadian, top 10. Great swing season player at plus 360 for him. Captain Kirk, Chris Kirk, top 10 at plus 400. Matt Wallace, good to me on the other side of the pond. Maybe he can be good to me here too. Top 20 at plus $150. Lucas Glover, top 20 at plus 180. And I'll hate myself, but I know this guy's almost like the mayor of this place down here. So Webb Simpson for a T20 at plus 320.
Carver, I don't know. We're reading each other's mail. Hopefully no seconds and thirds like in Europe, but I'm going to go with Davis Thompson's Water Seal. I like him to also win the tournament. I don't like 20 or 22-1. That's not good enough for me. Plus 190. The Georgia Bulldog Harmon, you got Kirk. I got Harmon plus 275. We're on the same guys. Harris English for a top 20 plus 145. Matt Wallace playing some of the best golf of his life. Plus 150. Got to go with the Canadian as Prime Minister. Mackenzie Hughes loves this track. Nice and easy. Keep it in play. Let's roll. And Lucas Glover, great ball striker. Top 20, plus 175. Man, we're on a lot of the same dudes.
We got Glover. We got Wallace. We got Harry English. We do got a bunch of guys on our placements. So hopefully, and Mac Hughes as well. So we got a bunch of guys that hopefully we can make some noise with. All right, first round leaders. Remember, 2 separate courses Thursday and Friday. So here's what I have on Thursday. Seaside course for me. Wow. Svensson 35-1. Mark put the Hubbard in the cupboard at 40. And Cam's Norlander Henry at 60-1 on the Seaside course. On the Plantation side, Captain Kirk at 30-1. I will take Brendan the Toddfather at 50-1. And then I will go, how about this for old time's sake, Cam? Stuart Sink on the Plantation side at 65-1. On that course to go and get it done. Who do you got me for first round?
Carver, I got to tell you, Stuart Sink may actually finish top 10 or 20 in this tournament. I'm thinking about adding him because he's such a price. Chris Kirk, same as you. Captain Kirk. Oh, my God. What do we got here? Georgia Bulldogs. I love it. I got Kirk at the Plantation. Bridgman, Mel Bridgman, former Philadelphia Flyer, New Jersey Devil, and Sam Riders on the Storm. He's 45-1. Seaside, Eckroat. I need a fisherman's friend. Love Eckroat. He won a couple weeks ago. Fishburne, put some fish on the grill. Hopefully salmon. Good for you. And what else do we got here? Hubbard in the cupboard. Same guy, Carver. Let's roll with Mark Hubbard playing good golf.
Cam, if there's a week for us here, we have had such a good year on Golf Wednesdays. Let's close. We got a lot of the same guys this week. Let's close it out in a huge way. Cam Stewart, the Prime Minister. Golf Wednesdays on Coast to Coast. We're back after this.
it's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So we're going to hear from Stefanski now about what's wrong with the Browns as they host the Steelers in the Dog Pound tomorrow night on the Thursday Nighter.
We certainly are. Now, it wasn't that long ago. It was last year that Kevin Stefanski won the Coach of the Year in the NFL. But he's 2-8 this year, and it's what have you always done for me lately? Me and you don't think that Stefanski's necessarily the problem in that place, but they need something to talk about, the media in Cleveland. So they're going to try to make it that he's on the hot seat. Kevin Stefanski's not worried about any of that.
So you know how this game goes. You grew up listening to WIP.
610 WIP.
You're 2-8. Your name's shown up on hot seat lists in the media. How do you feel going into this stretch Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh?
I think probably because I grew up listening to that, I'm smart enough to not worry about outside noise. I get that's part of this gig. That's life in the big city. My sole focus is getting this team ready to get a win on Thursday night. That's it.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is not only do I think the Steelers need to win this game, they need to play them again in 2 weeks and beat them again in Pittsburgh. So I think they play them on the 8th, maybe, something like that. So they got to beat them both times because the rest of their schedule has the Bengals twice, and they still got to play the Ravens, and that game's in the Charm City. They beat them in Pittsburgh. They got to go there to play them again. Those are tough games, and they'll be lucky, in my opinion, if they split with the Bengals because I know Burrow's not afraid of the Steelers. He's going to drop back and sling it for, 4 quarters and do his thing. He's a problem. Chase is a problem. They're better than their record, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, you're right. It is twice in 3 weeks. So they are at the place the Steelers play on December the 8th is when the Browns and Steelers. So they play a couple times here over the next few. As far as tomorrow night goes, we are still sitting at, right now, -3.5 for the Steelers with a 36.5 total. So the total did go up a point from yesterday.
Yeah, I think everyone's being suckered because of these trends that they never win. You gave me all the numbers on Thursdays, divisional games, and all the rest. But that was, frankly, before. And this is now. And they're a much better team now with Russell Wilson. They score more. They average way more yards. Their defense is lit. Their pass rush is incredible. I think their back end is tough. Everything about them, special teams, returning kicks, they really do everything well. So not only do I think they can win that game, obviously the number's low because everyone thinks they're going to, butcher the game like they always do on Thursday nights. But this team has been scoring. Now, Sunday they didn't. They had 6 field goals from Boswell. That was all they could muster. Russ didn't have it. And the bottom line is the Ravens are tough, but this team isn't. So they should be able to go back, in my opinion, to the high 20s or 30 points, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then, the Browns stink. So I'm hoping the Steelers don't give them anything, maybe one tutty.
Look, I told you yesterday I like the under. I think the under is a good play. Whether we get that at 31-0 Steelers or 17-0 Steelers, I think that we could find ourselves a way to the under tomorrow night. Remember a couple weeks ago when I would show you the AFC North odds, and we couldn't believe that the Steelers, you could still get them at prices like 4-1, 5-1, 6-1. Those days are over. They're now the favorite to win the AFC North, minus $1.65. They opened at 12-1. They were plus 220 last week. We saw plenty of 4s and 5s even weeks before that. Now the favorite and the biggest liability to win the division there at the book.
Well, I mean, no one believed in them. Everyone, every book had, terrible odds and futures for the Steelers that they wouldn't, win 7.5 games, wouldn't win 8.5. You saw all the numbers. And then they still said the Ravens were going to win the North and the Ravens are going to go to the Super Bowl and the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. And yet they can't beat Kansas City and they can't beat Pittsburgh. So now people are coming around when they saw it, proof in the pudding. They got it done with 6 field goals, like I said, and they still won the game. They didn't score a tutty, but they won the game. And now all of a sudden people are jumping on them. Of course they are. They're a good team. We've talked about this over and over repeatedly. There's only 3 or 4 teams that matter in the AFC, and they're certainly one of them.
They certainly are. All right, we will come back. We'll start to look at all the other stuff in Week 12. I got the best and the worst against the spread. I got some other futures for you on a Wednesday. Lot to do.
Let's go.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So we always give you the best and worst against the spread, the overs, the unders. Every week we look into it to see who's getting involved.
Yes, and I know that we've done a lot of Steelers already, but I mean, geez, they're at the top of the best ATS board too. I mean, there's just nothing I can do about that. They're 8-2. The Steelers and the Lions are 8-2 against the spread. The Colts are 8-3. The Colts suck, and they're 8-3 against the spread. The Broncos are too. Chargers, Cardinals, Vikings, Commanders, Bills. Also on that best of list for the against the spread.
How do you explain the Colts that they cover that much? And, I guess they beat the Jets. That's all that matters. But they're really not that good, but they cover all the time. So you get involved with them and you make money. It's crazy. I don't like watching them. I don't like their games. And yet they cover left and right.
Yeah, they are 5-6 straight up, obviously. But then 8-3. Against the number. So that's pretty. So they've got a bunch of games in there that they lost but covered as a losing team. So they've been good with numbers. They've been good. They've been catching some points, and I know they covered one or two games against the Texans this year as well. So they've been pretty good at doing that. On the bad side, the Titans 1-9 against the spread. That's ugly. The Cowboys 2-8. The Jets and the Giants, 3-8 and 3-7. The Browns, Panthers, Seahawks, Packers. You got Packers 4-6 against the spread. And they're a good football team, so they just don't cover either.
What a shame that the Jets and Giants both stink and they don't cover. Imagine that. And then the Cowboys 2-8. Their season's over. All these teams have issues, except, like you said, the Packers. They're still in it. The Niners are still in it, but they don't cover. I mean, that's crazy, right? The Raiders always overvalued, overrated. People think they're good, and they stink too. And I still don't buy the Dolphins just because they, won a game and then everybody gets excited. And I'm surprised that the Patriots are where they are. It looks like that ticket's not going to cash. They keep playing better than we thought they would.
Going to be a sweat for that one. Going to be a sweat. Probably
I don't think it's going to happen.
Few more losses. We got a couple. We've already hit the Jets. The Jets under is already a winner, and we're getting a little closer for the Bears. So we have a few that are in the barn already. We'll see if we can sweat that Patriot one out. Just like we did with the NBA, everybody loves POINTS, points. The Ravens, 9 of their 11 games to the over. The Bengals, 8 of their 11 games to the over. Panthers, Raiders, Bucks, Washington, Jaguars, Saints, Bills. As far as the underside, the Texans, 8 of their 11 games under. Giants, Bears, Vikings, Chargers, and Falcons also on that side.
So are the Panthers at that point because they give up so many points? Because they're not that exciting and scoring tons of points. It must be that. And then look at the Jaguars, another team that's awful, and they get overs because everybody pours it on them. I'm surprised at those teams. And the Bucs, losing 5 of 6 kind of ruined their season. But I still think Baker Mayfield's fun to watch every week, and he's in games. They just haven't been able to close the door.
Yeah, the Panthers, it's mostly because they've had a lot of games this year with 50 plus points. They have like a 38-20 loss, a 36-10 loss, a 34-24 loss, 36-22 game. They play in some of these games where they actually have scored a couple points, but they give up so many that it never goes well for them on the other side. But they have won 2 in a row. Remember that. They've won 2 in a row, the Panthers, coming
Very
off
exciting.
of a bye. Problem is that they play Kansas City this week off of the bye and having won 2 in a row.
That'll be the end of that.
Games in Carolina. Patrick Mahomes is 4-0 straight up this year as a double-digit road favorite. Actually, he's 4-0 straight up as a double-digit road favorite, but 3-0, 0-3-1 against the spread. doesn't cover the big numbers on the road. It's 10.5, actually up to 11 even, with the Panthers in Carolina.
Are you going to take the 11 with the Panthers and Bryce because he's hot all of a sudden and the trends say he doesn't cover on the road these games? He obviously doesn't. Are you going to grab the 11?
I'm not going to, I believe it or not, I'm seriously considering it. I think that I'm trying to talk myself into taking the Panthers at home this week just because they could get some garbage time. Look at all those scores they just gave. They lose these games and they score in the low 20. They could lose 35, 20, 27, something. Who knows? I could see them getting a cheap touchdown at the end and stay in the game. And look, back-to-back weeks on the road for Kansas City. I know they're the Chiefs. Panthers off a bye. Maybe we get something there this week. I don't expect them to win.
Kansas City's going to win that game. They're not losing there, I don't think. They're going to turn it around after what happened to them in Buffalo. They'll get it done. It's a question of will they cover the number? And they don't care about that. They're into dubs. They're not into covering spreads. They never have been. They're not a great cover team, even though they win Super Bowls. That's fact.
I got a couple more days here till Friday. Friday's when we usually have to put it in gold, and I will. I'm leaning towards the Panthers right now. We'll see if by Friday I can go the entire way with them. As far as the Lions go, we know they're very good at covering these numbers. In the Goff era, they're 21-9 against the spread as favorites, and how about 8-3 ATS as road favorites, which of course they are going to be this week, as they are in Indianapolis against the Colts, who we just told you, 8-3 against the number, 7.5 for the Lions here against a team that has covered a lot, even when losing.
So maybe you grab the 7 and a hook at Lucas Oil. I still think the Lions will win that game. They just keep winning every game they play. And not only that, they're pouring it on teams. They're killing teams. But the way Indy covers, it's, inexplicable. They keep covering, so why not take the points here as well? And they're playing in Naptown, so maybe they'll get lucky and cover for you.
I'm going after them this week. The Lions have been so good to me. They're on a mission, and they smash teams that they're a lot better than. It doesn't matter where the game is played. I think they're going to smash Indy again on Sunday. I think it's another smash city job for Detroit. Big game in the NFC West this week. And as we know, coming down the stretch now, Arizona is 6-4. And everyone else, Rams, Seahawks, Niners, are all 5-5. So there's a lot to be decided here. Arizona is the favorite right now to win the NFC West. How about that? They opened 11-1, plus $130 last week, minus 120. They're the least bet team to win the division before it started. Niners are plus 325. Rams and the Seahawks are both plus 550. I will tell you this. Last night on the radio show, we kind of looked at the schedules a little bit deeper. The Niners' schedule is very tough. And Arizona's schedule, they have 2 games with Seattle, and they play the Patriots and someone else, Carolina. So they got a couple very winnable games. There's a reason Arizona's favorite there. They're in the driver's seat.
I like them. I think they're tough. They got a great running game. Their coach is winning. He's doing everything right, making the right moves, the right calls. I like their offense. I like their quarterback. I like their young receiver, Harrison. They keep winning games, and no one saw it coming. Everybody thought, oh, it's the Niners. It's automatic. They'll be in the Super Bowl. Count on it. I think the Niners are playing better like they always do after week 9, but I still like Arizona. They just have to be themselves. Keep pounding the rock and, doing their thing and don't change at all, and maybe they'll get lucky and win the division. I think they're headed to the playoffs without a doubt.
They are 1.5-point favorites in Seattle on Sunday. That's a big game. Seattle's coming off a win over the Niners last week. That's tough there. We'll learn a lot. We'll see if Arizona goes out and wins in Seattle. That'll show me something. And they get to 7-4. That'll be huge for them.
I mean, I almost couldn't believe Seattle beat the Niners the way they did and got it done. Now they're home. They haven't played well at home.
No.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like and be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Brock Purdy's dealing with a shoulder problem all of a sudden, and they're coming off that loss to Seattle. Are they spinning a little bit out of control? People starting to talk about Shanahan even in the Bay.
Yeah, I think it is maybe spinning a little bit, especially after losing to Seattle last week. Now, he was limited today in practice, but the Niners, I guess Shanahan did say they expect him to be fine come Sunday. So we shall see how that goes for them. Now, that Sunday is they will be in Green Bay against the Packers. This is the late 425 East kick there at Lambeau. Packers -1.5, 47.5 is the total. Recent history, the Niners have done very well against the Packers, even in Lambeau, Scotty.
I mean, it's kind of the biggest game of the week on Sunday and a must-win for both of them. I mean, I think the Packers need this game at home in Lambeau over the Niners, who seem a little frail right now. They can beat them in Green Bay, get it done. It's huge for them, and the Niners can't afford to lose this game after losing to Seattle. It will start spinning out of control then.
It certainly will. All right, next, Harbaugh and the Chargers. Of course, they don't play till Monday night, where you'll get the Harbaugh Brothers Bowl at SoFi. We have a lot of fun with Jim now on Coast to Coast. We love his stuff, whether it's at the podium or even in the locker room. You sent me this morning. This was from after the win late on Sunday night, and I believe I saw he does this. They've been doing this after every win, Scotty, and that is sometimes you just got to give someone a high five. I mean, you just got to do it. Here's Jim.
This could be one of the best high fives ever.
Yeah.
Give each other a high five.
Everybody's getting a high five.
I mean,
look at this guy. I mean, honestly.
He's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow.
I mean,
they buy
that
into
is
this
just
guy, don't they? And he wins, and he He puts up W's. That's it. He comes through. They pay him the big bucks. Wherever he goes, he wins. And the players love him. You see, it's pretty obvious. They like playing for him.
They love him. Justin Herbert leads the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio at 13. The next three closest guys are all around 8. So Herbert's been very good at not throwing the ball to the other team so far this year. Ladd McConkey, rookie wide receiver, on pace for over 1,000 yards now. He would be the 8th rookie in the last 5 years to break that number. McConkey's been excellent for the Chargers so far this year. Longest winning streaks in the AFC. The Bills with 6, the Steelers with 5, the Chargers with 4. That is your updated NFL playoff picture, which has the Chiefs and the Lions with byes. Bills would play Denver. Eagles would play Washington. Steelers and Ravens again? Are you kidding me? In the playoffs for the world? At the place the Steelers play? I mean, come on. You got to be kidding me with that.
Yeah, that's stressful. I don't want to, have to play them again in a playoff game because, I think Lamar will figure it out at some point. I think in Baltimore he's going to figure it out, and if they play him in the playoffs in Pittsburgh, he could very well go in there and get it done. You have to be nervous playing that guy no matter what team you are. Whoever has to face Lamar Jackson has a problem on their hands. That's all there is to it. And I think that you look at the reason the Chargers have been so good is because they got a quarterback and they got a defense that doesn't give up points. They just play well. If you have that and you got a QB that gets it done like he does, anything's possible. You can win a lot of games and go to the playoffs.
Anything is possible indeed. For the first time this season, I will give you the Super Bowl odds on a Wednesday, and the Chiefs are not the favorite. First time all year I'm giving you the Super Bowl odds, and here we go. You have got now the Lions as the favorite at plus 325, then the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Eagles. There's the Steelers at 18-1. They are on the list. Then the Packers, Niners, Texans, Chargers at 25. I won't go any further than that.
Well, I mean, look at, honestly, I can't even look at it with the Steelers. I really can't. I can't look at that. And, Baltimore's ahead of them. That's like saying they think that they'll lose to them in Baltimore, and if they play them in the playoffs, they'll lose to them there as well. And, I am surprised they got Philly in front of them. I think Philly's playing really good football, so I'm not going to argue with it, but I don't think the Steelers get enough respect. If you beat Baltimore at some level right now, you should have better odds. I could see it changing. I even said they could lose to them in the playoffs, even in Pittsburgh. That's how dangerous Lamar Jackson is. But they get, frankly, to me, you just beat them. They deserve more respect. Seriously.
And the weird thing is that it's not even like they're ahead of them by a little bit. Like 8-1 and 18-1. That's a gap. Like, that's not even, it should be a lot closer than that, especially after they just beat them. Very strange for that. As far as the most bet teams to win the Super Bowl, that also has the Lions at the top, as they have 16.1% of the tickets. Look at that. No Steelers in the top. The more Jet tickets than Steeler tickets.
Oh, my God. Look
at the Super Bowl. You gotta be kidding me.
The Niners, the Bengals, the Texans. I think the Texans are relatively kind of fair to Midland. I think they're overrated. Look at the Jets. How is that possible? They're finished. Their season's over, and everybody holds those tickets thinking that they were going to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And a lot of people had the Bears as well. So none of that is coming to fruition. You know that. But I think the Lions are dangerous. Chiefs, certainly Ravens. I'm not buying the Niners. I'm buying the Bills, the Eagles, and the Steelers, and then I'm cutting it off right there.
Cut it off. That's what we do need to do. We will come back, and I will have a few other things for you. I want to get the player stuff in with you today, so we'll do that. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive, and the Coach of the Year odds, which I'm also eagerly awaiting to give you for someone who's never won that award before in their career.
It won't be Eberflus.
it's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
So, Carver High, look at the Eagles suddenly with the best defense in the league overall. The Chargers give up the fewest points, but in everything, all total defense, it's the Eagles who are the best.
Yes, if you wrap everything together, total yards, rush yards given up, pass yards given up, et cetera, it is the Eagle defense, which is now number 1 in the NFL heading into week number 12. And part of that big reason for that is their rookie cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell, who leads all NFL cornerbacks in forced incompletion percentage. He's been excellent on the outside. Another Howie Roseman find in the draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's very good. And that will actually, you know what, that'll lead me into the awards with this. I don't have the board for it, but I will tell you, Mitchell is the second choice for the Defensive Rookie of the Year at plus 320. Jared Verse of the Rams is minus 190, and there's nobody even close to those two guys. So Mitchell does have a chance to maybe win the Defensive Rookie of the Year there in Philadelphia with the job that he has done so far this year, which has been a very good one.
He's a badass. And you know, when you have a guy like that on the back end and they're stopping everybody else, meanwhile, you know, they win games and all they do in Philly is complain about Nick Sirianni. It's beyond me. The guy is winning. They're winning. They have it all going. They're headed to the playoffs, and people still complain all day. You got players like this kid. He's going to win that award. They have everything going in the right direction, but they waste their time complaining about the team. They're never good enough. They could go undefeated, and they'd still complain. They complain on Christmas.
That is precisely what they do. They like to complain. People like to complain sometimes. It's just the way that it is. MVP, it's Allen this week at plus 150 after beating the Chiefs. He is the favorite. Lamar Jackson is 2-1. Jared Goff is 6-1. And then there is a gap between everybody else. In fact, Mahomes has even slipped to 14 since we went and did that. So I heard you and Gabe talking about this earlier. I don't believe in superstitions and ghosts and all this other stuff that goes on with guys who win awards. Josh Allen is the leader. He should be the leader right now for the NFL MVP, especially when you consider the turnover in roster that the Bills did this year, and he has them back right where they are at 9-2. So that's how I feel about that.
You want him to win it, right?
I want him to win it. That's for sure. For more reasons than one, let's just say. For more reasons than one, I would like him to win it. There may be some tickets on him.
I don't think it's the President's Cup in hockey, being the MVP of the NFL. I mean, look at Rodgers. He won 4 of them, and I think his career is judged on those 4 more than the Super Bowl win over the Steelers. I really do. You win 4 MVPs, you're a badass. I think Josh Allen needs one of them, and I don't buy any of that other stuff about jinxes or anything.
Yeah, and look, we've seen this in the NBA with Embiid and Joker. There's sometimes, these voters sometimes don't like to give it to the same guy every year, and if there's 2 guys who are closer, neck and neck, they would go. So Lamar's there with them. I personally think, and this is not me being a homer, I think Allen's had a better year than Lamar. He just has. But if it's close, I don't think they'd give Lamar a third one. I think that they would give it to Allen before they give him another. So and they do think that way. I know people go, it shouldn't be that way. Well, guess what? These are human beings. It is. They do factor it in, giving it to the same guy over and over again. It does get played into their head. Unless the guy's head and shoulders away.
He's been better. He's been better than Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar looked real average against the Steelers. Again, he struggles with that defense. And then you watch Josh Allen running all over the Kansas City Chiefs, scoring touchdowns, running sideways, making plays, and he's doing it every week. It doesn't matter who they play. He just gets it done, and I think he is better. And you know what? He's been better than Mahomes. He's been better than everybody. Mahomes, they went to 9-0, and he had, like, real average numbers. They weren't doing anything spectacular at all. Meanwhile, Allen was doing everything. I think he should have been the MVP leader for weeks now.
And now Mahomes is where he should be after the loss. I think they kept Mahomes up there because they were undefeated. Now that he's lost the game, he's been buried back there in the middle with everybody else. TJ Watt is the unquestioned favorite for the Defensive Player of the Year. He's minus 185, and there isn't anybody in his zip code, nor should there be. We do this every week, and we can keep saying it. TJ Watt's going to win the Defensive Player of the Year.
He didn't do anything for a few weeks, and then against the Ravens, he came up big and made plays, and he looked like his old self again, so he's still the leader far and away.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.